Welcome back. For the past 2 weeks, the world has watched a dangerous escalation unfold in the Middle East. What began as decades of suspicion, proxy battles, nuclear fears, and political mistrust has now moved into open confrontation involving Israel, Iran, and the United States. Tonight, we unpack the history, the mistrust, and the strategy driving today's events and why it matters here in Kenya. Let's talk about Iran. In the past few days, simmering tensions exploded. Israel and the United States struck military sites linked to Iran's nuclear program. Iran retaliated with missiles and drones across the region, hitting Israel, Gulf states, and U.S. bases. Oil routes are at risk, and global powers are racing to prevent a wider war.
The region and the world need a way out now. I call for de-escalation and an immediate cessation of hostilities.
I don't see any room for diplomacy anymore because Donald Trump had been deceiving others.
We were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. I didn't want that to happen.
This operation is guided by clear objectives: eliminate immediate threats, dismantle the nuclear program, destroy its ballistic missile production.
You cannot sit and just watch and to see that your people are killed on a daily basis.
We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to.
They'll be hit even harder.
Iranian military is quite strong. They have the arms that they need, which are produced in Iran, and therefore we have to stay with full might, as we are doing now.
Iran, please stop!
20 ships waiting at sea, millions of dollars lost in delays, and businesses counting the cost.
I'll give you an example. The United States is spending nearly $900 million every day. Meanwhile, the war is costing Israel about $3 billion per week. So this is not just a battle of firepower, it is also a test of who can afford to keep fighting.
So let's unpack what's happening and why it matters here in Kenya. If this story feels familiar, that's because it is. We have unpacked Iran's nuclear program before, the suspicion that Iran could be building nuclear weapons and the global efforts to stop it. But over the past few days, that long-running standoff has turned into something much more dangerous. The latest escalation began when Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iranian military infrastructure. Soon after, the United States joined the operation. Airstrikes targeted missile launch sites, military bases, and facilities suspected of being connected with Iran's nuclear program. The goal was to weaken Iran's ability to develop long-range weapons and nuclear capability.
The whole fear behind nuclear weapons is in their destructive ability. Nuclear weapons, when they are detonated in any place, they render that place inhabitable for not less than 50 to up to 500 years because they are radioactive, they poison the environment, poison the water, kill everyone around there. So, the world sat down and decided we cannot have countries, we can't have too many countries owning nuclear weapons. The ones that already had nuclear weapons signed an agreement, and all other countries signed an agreement binding themselves to not developing this technology. So when Iran goes ahead and appears, by all intents and purposes, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, when the IAEA says that Iran is not cooperating, Iran's nuclear program is suspect, everybody gets jittery in the Middle East, Israel especially, because they know they will be the number one target, the number one victim, in case Iran gets the nuclear weapons.
Here's a simple way to understand what's happening. Imagine your neighbor is building something in their garage. You think it's a dangerous weapon. They say it's just tools, but you don't believe them. So instead of waiting to find out, because then it might be too late, you break into the garage and destroy the equipment. That's essentially the logic behind Israel's strategy, stopping a weapon before it exists.
The Iranian regime has been developing a nuclear program in order to have nuclear bombs already for a very long time. in order to attack Israel and to destabilize the whole region.
But Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful and says it's being attacked for something it hasn't done.
The so-called existential threat narrative is false. It has no legal basis. It is used only to justify aggression and hide Israel war crimes.
There is no evidence, and we haven't said never that Iran has pursued any military purpose for its nuclear activities.
Peaceful purposes means for electricity generation, for medical research and development.
So Iran responded quickly, launching waves of ballistic missiles and armed drones across the region. To understand why this is happening now, we have to go back decades. In 1979, Iran's Islamic Revolution overthrew the US-backed Shah.
Shah Reza Pahlavi. It was claimed that he was very close to the West. And so Ayatollah Khomeini was bringing back a religious revolution to the country, wanting to lead the country under, Islamic laws, and he felt like the Shah had, pretty much lost his way.
Soon after, students stormed the US embassy and held diplomats hostage for 444 days. Since then, relations with the United States have been deeply hostile. Iran's revolutionary leaders also openly declared Israel illegitimate and began supporting armed groups opposed to Israel, including Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and the Islamic Jihad.
The Iranian-Israel issue goes way deep into history, all right? How Babylonians, captured the Jews, held them, kept them hostage, and dominated and colonized them for a number of years until one day the Jews also got a chance to leave. So at the root cause of their conflict, initially, it is the Palestinian issue.
In 2002, international inspectors and media reports exposed several previously undisclosed nuclear facilities in Iran, raising concern about the country's nuclear ambitions and sparking global scrutiny.
There are so many countries in the world, Australia, so many advanced countries of the world that have the ability to make nuclear weapons, but they have a moral obligation. They have decided, because of the uncertainty surrounding these weapons and the chaos and the fear they spread, we will not do it. So that's why everybody doesn't understand why would Iran, knowing that this is such a sensitive topic, still toy around this idea.
That suspicion triggered years of sanctions, negotiations, cyber attacks, and covert operations. In 2015, Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal, limiting its nuclear activity in exchange for sanctions relief. But the deal collapsed after the United States withdrew in 2018 under President Donald Trump. Since then, tensions steadily escalated. By May 2025, the International Atomic Energy Agency raised alarm that Iran had accumulated hundreds of kilograms of highly enriched uranium, enough for several theoretical warheads.
In fact, one big, nice nuclear weapons like the Tsar bomber that the Russians have will wipe out Israel entirely, render it inhabitable.
As the current crisis unfolds, Iran is also undergoing a major leadership transition following the death of its longtime supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Iran's clerical leadership moved quickly to appoint a successor. That successor is his son, Mojtaba Khamenei. For Iran, the supreme leader is the most powerful figure in the political system, overseeing military, intelligence services, and nuclear policy. That means a decision taken by Mojtaba Khamenei in coming days could shape how this conflict unfolds. Iran's missile and drone strategy is as much about economics as warfare. Iranian drones cost tens of thousands of dollars, while the missiles used to shoot them down can cost millions of dollars. Swarms of drones force expensive defenses, adding up to billions over time. This tactic is known among military analysts as cost imposition warfare. Then there's the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important strategic locations in the world. Nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has since warned that any passage could be targeted, giving it leverage. The result? Rising oil prices, disruptions to global shipping, and increased geopolitical tension, including here in Kenya. Shipping and logistics players in Mombasa have already voiced concerns about the impact on trade. For now, the shadow war between Israel and Iran is no longer in the shadows, and what could happen next could shape global politics and the global economy in the days ahead.